Okay, everyone, I wanted to get back to you really quickly and talk to you about something that a lot of people have asked me a lot of questions about, and that's whether or not they should do the paperwork for the K1 visa, fiance visa petition on their own. So, the first thing that I want to say about this is that obviously every situation is different. The reason that I chose to do the K1 visa, fiance visa petition form I-129F on my own is because I happen to be very good at dealing with these types of forms, these types of government applications. When I was 16 years old, I was completing the IRS 1040A for my mom and dad because they didn't know how to do their taxes on their own. So I guess you can say I got an early start. I've dealt with government agencies and government bureaucracies, and then I had to get accustomed to dealing with a new government agency in a new state because California is very different from New York. However, it wasn't an easy choice to make the decision to fill out this application on my own. My fiance Nia and I were really concerned that if we didn't do it correctly, we would screw up the process and basically make it take longer than it should be. But I took careful steps to make sure two things. One, that I understood exactly what they wanted, and two, that I had access to the information that they wanted. And by access, I mean I knew what agencies to go to get the information that was required of me. Not all of it is stuff that you'll have around your house, like social security card or driver's license or birth certificate or something like that. Some of the information, particularly concerning me, was only available by contacting another government agency. For example, my divorce decree. So, what do when you're faced with the opportunity to fill out this application on your own or spend hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars for a service or for a lawyer? At the time, completing Form I-129F cost about $525. I believe the price has now been raised to $535. So with that, I was looking at an additional $500 to $1,000 to enlist a service to assist me, or several thousand dollars to enlist a. I decided to just sit down, focus, and do this on my own. How do you make that decision whether or not you are capable of successfully completing this form without error? If you're the kind of person who screws up, signing your kid's report card on time, then you probably want to consider getting legal help. But if you're the kind of person who really understands things and who can take the time to disseminate the information that's being given to you and apply it in real life, then you should definitely give it a shot because the savings will be and can be astronomical. So I made the choice to do this on my own, and I started by sitting down one day, Saturday morning. I got up at 10 o'clock, sat down in front of my computer, and I went through that form line by line by line by line until I understood what was being asked of me and where I needed to go to get that information. When I was done, I had a very good understanding of what was being asked of me. However, there are two parts of the story. There's the information requested of me, then there's the information requested of my fiance. And she was in another country, and they have different rules and different regulations and different government systems. And so anything that I was unsure of, I reached out to her and say, "Hey, how would you get this? How would you get this family document? How would you prove that you've never been married? How would you prove that you don't have any children? How do you prove that if you were divorced, that you were legally divorced? All this information. I had no clue what it would take to do so in Vietnam. So the second part of it was to reach out to my fiance and find out more about how she would get access to these documents. Luckily, She was familiar with those documents, and she knew where to start to get them. The next step was actually going out and getting these other documents that I needed. So I made a point of reaching out to these government agencies and essentially asking for help, telling them, this is what I'm trying to do. Can you help me get what I need to get? And when you ask people for help, it's a little bit different than asking them to do something for you. The mindset is a little different. And I know it kind of seems like it's just a play on words and just semantics, but the feeling is a little different. So I asked for help, and they were very willing to give me a hand. One of the most helpful things that happened was when I went to the county clerk's office and I went to get a copy of my divorce decree. And I just mentioned to the lady at the window that I was going to be submitting this to the U.S. consulate. And right at that point, she mentioned to me that there were two forms of this divorce decree. The final step was actually sitting down, filling out this document, and assembling all of the pieces of this puzzle to make sure I had it. I made cover sheets for each different area of the form, and then that allowed me, and it kept everything sorted. But there was one thing that's in hindsight I wish I had done differently, and that's that. Wait, cut. That portion of the video is far too long and it's going to take too much time, and this video is already going on long enough, so I'm going to have to save all of that information for another video. Sorry. Right now, back to the other story. Sorry, I can't do that. What's up with Siri? Back to the other story. So, the benefit of filling out Form I-129F, or the USCIS K1 Visa petition form, the benefit of filling it out yourself is that you have control of the process. I needed to know when they received it, what day, what time, who stamped it, what my information was. I didn't want to have to wait for that information to go to someone else first and then come to me. I needed it to come to me immediately because I wanted to be aware in real time what was happening with my case. So, should you fill out Form I-129F, the K1 Fiance Visa petition, yourself? I think you should. If your situation is simple, basic, and uncomplicated, you can very much fill out this form yourself. It's not that complicated. If English is your second language, you may want to reconsider. But if you are a native English speaker and you've been in the United States for many, many years, then this filling out that form I-129F should be very simple for you. Now, under what conditions should you not fill out this form yourself? If English is not your first language and you don't have mastery of it, nor do you have access to someone who has mastery of English. In those instances, you should not fill out this form yourself. You should not fill out Form I-129F yourself. If you have a complicated relationship status, you're not divorced yet, or there was a problem with your divorce, or your divorce was contested, or you were married several times, or you've been to jail, you've been convicted of a violent crime or a felony. Those instances require a delicate touch, and you, as a novice, won't know what is actually needed. That is when you need to sit back and consider getting professional help, or via a service or a lawyer to assist with completing Form I-129F. So that's it. Thanks for listening. I'll